It's feet tapping and finger clicking galore here in studio. You know, our second music guest is not only one of Southern Africa's most devoted scholars and disciples of indigenous African music, but a globally accomplished jazz musician and producer too. The South African-born musician, saxophonist and composer will kickstart the 2018 edition of the Soweto Jazz Explosion series at the Cape Gate MIAGI Center for Music in Jabavu Soweto next weekend. And joining us now in studio are Steve Dyer and Prince Lingwasa. A very good morning to you, gentlemen, and welcome.
Morning. Good morning.
All right, now, Steve, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
First of all, speak to us about your interactions with Jabavu Soweto. When and how did it all start?
Oh, Jabavu I met in 1982.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quite a long time back. I was based in Botswana. I'd refused military conscription, and I was based in Botswana. And he came across for what was then a culture and resistance festival. That was a festival that for the first time brought together cultural activists from within South Africa and without. And Abdullah Ibrahim came there, Jabavu Soweto was there, Jonas Gwangwa. It was really a baptism of fire in the traditions of Marabi and freedom music. And that's my first encounter with Jabavu.
Wow, wow. And you, Prince? Well, surely you must have interacted with him quite a number of times, being a trumpeter yourself.
Well, I have interacted with him a number of times, but the first time I met him was at Montreux Jazz Festival in 1991. I was there with Prakaifas and Sisleta in that band. And then we found out when we were there that, well, this is a South African contingent and we need to accompany Jabavu as well.
Right.
And it was a great, encounter, because we went on, he called the tunes he wanted to do. I was with Juk Makasi. And he called the tunes he wanted to do. The funny part is that he didn't give out parts, you know. He just said, this is a song, and he started playing, so we were harmonizing and that.
Okay.
And then in the middle of the first song, he says, Emorwa, ako ka harmonia le khanyan. I was like, it was like, you know, I don't really like your part, but let me give you a part. And it was nice because it was our first encounter, and I can remember, Emorwa, like a harmony.
Yeah,
so nothing wrong with that harmony, because I come from the church, you know.
Sure.
But in the context of his song, he wanted the harmony aligned in another way.
Yeah.
And it was a really great
And he certainly was a perfectionist, eh?
Certainly.
He didn't want to compromise on his craft.
He didn't have time for that. He wanted things to be done in a particular way, and we would do it that way.
Yeah. Steve, talk to us about the Jazz Explosions. What can you expect from it?
Well, the Jazz Explosion, we are bringing a project that I initiated. It's called Manswe Amarabi. So here we are honoring the Marabi tradition. And so we initiated this a couple of months ago, and that's what we're going to bring to Soweto next weekend.
Yeah, and it's also going to be held at the Cape Gate MIAGI Center for Music in Jabavu.
Yes.
Why did you see that as a perfect venue for this?
Well, the organizers have something called the Jazz Explosion, so we got booked. That's how it goes. But that is a center that helps uplift young aspiring musicians. It's just opposite the Morris Isaacson School, and so I think it's kind of a fitting place to bring this kind of tradition.
How did the Manswe Amarabi come about?
Well, you know, we've been playing this music for a long time, and then I got booked to do a gig at Orbit, and I thought there's some music that from those times in Botswana, like, we've never played before. And I think that it's important to, no matter that life moves forward, it's important also to recognize the heritage. And I've played with some young musicians in South Africa, and they're doing great things. But sometimes I think we as elder people take for granted what they know about the tradition. And hence Manswe Amarabi was born.
So does township jazz music and kwela still exist in your world?
It certainly does. I mean, those are the traditions upon which our music is built, and if we don't look back and appreciate what people like Brantemi, Piliso, Kipi, and some of our forefathers did, how do we know where we're going? You know, so it's important to look back, as Steve says, and to be part of what happened then, into a younger generation, because young people are into kwaito, and there's nothing wrong with that, and other music forms. But in terms of our tradition and heritage, we need to keep that alive.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also a thing of, you know, we're not just documenting. In our music, we also have modern influences. You know, nothing is static.
Yeah.
But the basis is the Marabi tradition.
True, true.
Yeah.
How would the addition of big names like you know, Prince and Mongezi bring to the explosion? What sort of value would it
Well, we have a happy family, you know, as Manswe. We have young musicians like Lungile Kunene and Sibusiso Sibanyoni. They are the youngsters, so it's an intergenerational thing. Tsepo Tsotetsi playing alto, he's playing here today as well. So it's really a family of people. Bratembo Mokwena, how can we forget him?
Yeah.
He's one of the really initiators of that kind of guitar style.
Okay.
So it's just something that I think the relationship between all the musicians works very well.
Right, right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for chatting to us this morning.
Well, thank you for having us. Sure.
That's a South African-born musician, saxophonist, composer, producer Steve Dyer speaking to us about his upcoming performance as part of the Soweto Jazz Explosion series at the Cape Gate MIAGI Center for Music in Jabavu in Soweto next Sunday. He was joined by Prince Lingwasa. All right, let's now play out with the music that we played earlier on.